Day, good morning or good afternoon. So I am from the Group 3 reporters. And our topic for today is all about Filipino characters or traits. The learning outcomes for this lesson are the following. The learners will be able to understand where the Filipino traits or characters came from. Second, they'll be able to acquire other values that the Filipino has. Third, the learners will be able to differentiate the positive and negative traits of a Filipino community. Filipinos have been described as friendly, outgoing, sensitive, easily offended, nosy, curious, direct, hospitable, feisty, irreverent, good-natured, clever, witty, happy, generous, easy to laugh, gracious, easy to befriend, casual, fun-loving, and hospitable, and so much and many more. That's how they see us as a Filipinos or who we are. Filipino characteristics that we are absolutely proud of. Drowning in all the negativity of today's issues, we often forget that there's a brighter side to things. It's so easy to pour all your attention on the bad things and just set aside the good ones. Why? Maybe it's because all the good things in our life are always there, always constant. And it's the bad things that are ever changing. Perhaps one of the best characteristics of a Filipino is his ability to make other people laugh. After all, we're a bunch of people who love to laugh everything away. Easy lang, that's how we express it. That's witty minds of a lot of individuals out there, memes taken from teleseries scenes, joke, tweets, and many more. It's like we're telling ourselves that hey, we know life can be a pain, but let's smile through it all. Social values and organization in the Philippines. The great majority of the Philippines population is bound together by common values and a common religion. Philippine society is characterized by many positive traits. Among these are strong religious faith, respect for authority, and high regard for amor proprio, our self-esteem, and smooth interpersonal relationships. Philippine respect for authority is based on the special honor paid to elder members of the family and by extension, to anyone in a position of power. These characteristics is generally conducive to the smooth running to society. Although, when taken to extreme, it can develop into an authoritarianism that discourages interdependence, judgment, and individual responsibility and initiatives.
Hi everyone, I am Jeremy Midkela. I'm from Group 3 Reporters, and in this time, I will be the one to discuss the Filipino values topic. So we have there three main traits underlie in the Filipino values and value orientation. The first one is the personalism. The second one is the familialism, and the third one, the particularism or popularism. So these strongly influence Filipino behavior and decision making and are the basis of his personal beliefs and cultural traditions and practices. So they are the basis for acceptable behavior. So let's start with the personalism. Personalism is the emphasis Filipino give to interpersonal relations or face-to-face encounters. Successful leadership or being a good manager necessitates a personal touch, and problem solving is effective if handled through good personal relations. So it is also an intellectual stance that emphasizes the importance of human persons. Personalism exists in many different versions, and this makes it somewhat difficult to define as a philosophical and theological movement. So the second one is the familialism or the familism. Familialism emphasizes the welfare and interests of the family over those of the community. The family is the basis of group action, and almost all community activity centers on the family. The family, and not the individual, decides on important matters, and these are decided on the basis of family, not individual interest. So the family honor and not that of the individual is at stake when a family member makes a mistake. Yes, that's true. Ang karangalan ng pamilya at hindi ng individual ang nakataya kapag nagkamali ang isang membro ng pamilya. So, it is also characterized by an emphasis on collective needs, interdependency, and conformity, along with a deeply ingrained sense of obligation and orientation to the family, has received increasing scholarly attention as it has been shown to serve as a protective factor for certain subpopulations of youth. And then the third one or the last one is the particularism. Particularism results from the strong family influence on individual and group behavior. So individuals strive to promote their own and their family's interests over community interests. Being popular among peer groups is highly desirable. Hence, Filipinos make special efforts to entertain friends and relatives. So knowing how to entertain people, marunong umasikaso ng kapwa is so very important. Conformity to proper codes of conduct reaps the rewards of cooperation and assistance. Non-conformity is punished by withdrawal of support. It is also refers to the tendency of a person to center his or her concern on his or her subgroups made up of relatives, friends, colleagues, associates, religious affiliates, or members of his or her ethnic or regional group in the larger society to which he or she belongs. For example, tayo-tayo system, kamag-anak system, compadre system, regionalism, fraternity and sorority ties, kapartido system, kapatid sa pananampalataya, kababayan, kapangkat, at kapatiran.
Okay, so the next is the value orientation. Value orientation is the way individuals relate to objects, events, and ideas. Three main obligations underlie Filipino value orientation: relational, pakikipagkapwa; emotional, damdamin; and moral, karangalan. All or one may influence work or social relationships. So, the relational obligations are interpersonal or face-to-face relationships and their resulting obligations. This is relative to the personalism value in Filipino cultural orientation. The nature of interpersonal relationships are determined by pakikiramay, pakikisama, bayanihan, and galang. Pakikiramay means going out of the way to help without being asked, for example, unsolicited help. Pakikisama or smooth interpersonal relationships means going along with someone's views, whether agreeing or not. This enhances camaraderie, trust, confidence, and loyalty. This is related to bayanihan or reciprocal labor and giving help without compensation. So next is the galang or respect is part of most social encounters. It indicates deference to the opinions of elders, peers, or those in authority during important deliberations. Any verbal clash with older people in public or any sign of extreme familiarity with members of higher official status in public meetings are signs of disrespect. So next is the religion and Filipino character. Catholicism has a strong influence of the Filipino character. According to Thank God I'm Filipino, the Philippines is one the most religious countries in world, particularly in Catholicism and Islam. Families would encourage and strengthen the values of their children and would at least have one day a week for worship and at the same time strengthening family ties. Religion is the foundation of most of the country's morals and values, and sometimes the church greatly affects the minds and opinions of the general populace, affecting its decisions. Sadly, this also applies to the government as they are troubled by whatever the church stand is in every matter, as people see their opinion to be the right one. Thus, many of our politicians go with whatever the church says, fearing that they would lose vote if they go against it. So next is the island influence and the Philippines multicultural stew. It is said that Filipino culture is derived from all the cultures that have resided on the islands. The bayanihan or spirit of kinship and camaraderie is thought to have taken from their Malay ancestors. Close family ties are said to have been inherited from the Chinese. So the Tagalog word chismis, wrote journalist Alan Berlu, describes stories, intrigue, lies, gossip, speculation, gathered like rice in a basket and tossed up in the air, sending husk to the wind, leaving behind kernels of truth. Truth and half-truths, anyway. It is a missing link, a smoking gun, the connective tissue of random events, the effort to explain things that resist explanation. Filipino traits. According to Thank God I'm Filipino, first, the Filipino attitude of bahala na, come what may, enables a person to meet difficulties and shortcomings with resignation by leaving it up to the Almighty to sort things out. This attitude can also result in overconfidence that everything will work out in his interest without doing anything. 2. The Filipinos' manana habit causes that delays in many public transactions and even corporations. This attitude can affect the engagement to wait until tomorrow or the next day, especially when the person involved is not interested or not in the mood. However, one must remember that many Filipinos take their time in doing things or in making decision. So number 3, the bahala na attitude is the outcome of the manana habit when the tasks are left undone. This is usually shown and even expressed by people who do not care much of what lies ahead and just leave everything in fate. Number 4, some Filipinos do not mostly practice being late or not showing up. There are few people who are punctual for social meetings. In fact, It is not expected of them to arrive exactly on time, especially at a party. It is advised that you always check with the host or hostess the time of you are expected to arrive. Number 5. Some male Filipinos are proud and arrogant that they will not accept losing face, particularly in the crowd. They don't like the idea of being defeated or embarrassed. In some cases, losing face or being humiliated is the cause of street brawls, drinking bouts, or even killings in the country. Last of the Filipino traits, number 6, the Filipino hiya or shame trait stems from losing amor propio, which is a Spanish word meaning pride. Filipinos find it difficult to confront someone who has not um, to humiliate the person or cause person to lose his amor propio. Okay, so let's proceed to the some positive traits of Filipinos. First, they say opo or po to elders as respect and talking. Second, Filipinos mano on the elders when greeting them, which is also a part of respect. Third, most Filipino schools don't bully, not like in other foreign countries. Fourth, we believe in only one God, which is God. Most of us are Catholics. Fifth, we also pray before going to eat, going to bed, or etc. Six, we love to laugh. Number seven, some are helpful. Okay, so let's have a number eight to the positive traits, no? Number eight, there's no such thing as nerd here in us, and we don't test smart people. Number nine, we are friendly. Number 10, in the old days, if a boy wants a girl, the boy should speak the parents first and do everything just to accept him and to marry the girl. That was in the old days. And then the last, so number 11, the father is not the only breadwinner of the family, also their children. Most of us don't care if you're ugly or beautiful. It all depends on the personality. So if we have positive traits of Filipinos, we have also a negative traits of Filipinos. So let's start with a number 1. Some give birth at an early age. The age of 16, no, it's so very early. Then number 2, some just don't mind their own business. Number 3, have many bad habits like drinking, smoking, or etc. Number 4, some poor teenagers sell their bodies just to have money, or what we call this is the prostitutes. Number 5, most Filipinos have sad or dramatic lives. Number 6, there are many broken families. Number 7, there are a lot of hold-uppers, kidnappers, rapers, robbers, and others which we really cannot avoid. Number 8, almost all Filipino presidents corrupt out country. Number 9, a lot of bad words to choose from which Filipinos just can't avoid saying those. Number 10, a lot of Filipinos are hard workers. And the last, number 11, we tend to be with our friends most of the time than to be with our parents. So, mas daghan patag time, no? Mas daghan patag time sa ato friends kaysa sa atong parents or sa atong family. So next, good time Filipinos and fiestas. Filipinos are fun-loving people. Throughout the islands, there are frequent fiestas and foreign visitors are easily welcomed into people's homes. According to Thank God I'm Filipino, Filipinos are gregarious, friendly, and hospitable. They sing and dance even when it's storming, laugh at anything, and have a communal sense of fun. Then the emotional Filipinos. Filipinos have been accused of being overly fatalistic and concerned only with the here and now. Bahala na is popular expression that roughly translates to I don't care what happens in the future as long as I survive now. And the last, we have a hospitality, honesty, and resiliency of the Filipino people. According to think that I'm Filipino, being a hardworking people, the Filipinos are also honest. In general, they would prefer to work hard for an honest day's pay than to find an easier way like stealing or cheating. As in the case of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs, they are mostly domestic helpers and they're given a job which requires a lot of trust from the employer as they are left alone with their belongings or children. It is rare that Filipinos would do anything to betray or lose the trust that is given to them. We see so many Filipinos working in the homes of other families precisely because they can be trusted. But even in our country, Filipinos have displayed honesty in various forms, may it be from a taxi driver returning a dropped phone or wallet. Filipinos would choose to do the right thing, though sometimes this is not necessarily true.
And that's all. Thank you and God bless.